What is up, guys? Got some good ones today, man. Got some good comments. Some really good old fashioned ignorant comments that I wanted to respond to on a Diddy video the other day where, you know, I was simply saying that despite what a shit person we know Diddy is, as far as his, you know, controlling, coercing, manipulating, assaulting, abusing people at the expense of his his power and his fame and for his own self gratification. And but I was simply saying, I think we're getting to a point now where people are starting to pile on. You know what I mean? And no matter how much of a shit person he is, nobody is going to serve justice and serve a time or serve justice if they are being accused and definitely convicted of things that they didn't do. That's not justice, right? We don't know that he didn't do them, but we also don't know that he did. And very few things that have come out so far regarding Diddy have been substantiated. We know he beat the shit out of Cassie Ventura because we saw the video. The rest of it at this point is just conjecture and unsubstantiated claims and allegations. Now, does that mean that I'm some sort of Diddy nut hugger, or that I'm somehow taking up for Diddy, or that I'm somehow saying Diddy's this great guy who's just this philanthropist that's just misunderstood? No, I'm not saying that. It gets to a point where, you know, every lie has 80% truth to it. So it gets to a point where even when people start to pile on, you say, well, there's got to be some truth here. This guy really has to have some issues. Really has to be a fucked up individual if all of these people are collectively coming forward, right? But it does get to a point where, from a mere objective standpoint, whether you like him, hate him, think he's the biggest asshole in the world, or don't, where you look at it and say, I wonder now if some of these people are just trying to get book deals. I wonder now if these people are just trying to get their names put in the same hat with and to be spoken in the same sentence with a music mogul like P. Diddy. I'm now feeling like there are people who, if they spent 10 minutes with P. Diddy ever, that there are people that are sitting home with light bulbs going on in their heads and dollar signs flicking on in their heads going, maybe this can be an opportunity, right? And to even hint at that, I knew was going to invite some hate on me. Uh, I didn't do it. I ain't being accused of shit. but, but no, I knew it was going to happen. I was surprised it took as long as it did. But there's one thing I think that we can all agree on, and there are what I like to call piranhas in this world. You know what a piranha is? I mean, I know you know what it is, but let's really think about what a piranha is. A piranha is kind of a small fish, right? But when something is injured, or a bigger prey is either somehow injured or comes into the territory of the piranha, although smaller, come in numbers and gangs to gang up on the bigger prey, and they take little nibbles at him. Little nibbles, little nibbles, little nibble. One piranha by itself ain't gonna do much of shit. But if you get 150 of them together, all taking little nibbles here, little nibbles there, little nibbles here, little nibbles there, before you know it, there's nothing left of the prey. And the piranha have eaten everything, all of the flesh, all of the skin, all the vessels, all the muscles, everything, all the way down to the bone, right? And there are piranha out there in the music industry, in the entertainment industry, in Hollywood. There are piranha everywhere, okay? And to even pretend that piranhas do not exist with my having now explained to you what a piranha, what the human equivalent of a piranha is, to even pretend that they do not exist, it's just being downright ignorant, right? And there's so many people out there that are not leaders, but they're followers, and they're so used to hearing something online and assuming that it must be true if they heard it online, that they they can't switch their brain into an objective position. They cannot switch their brain into a position where they actually make a well thought out, formulated, objective opinion on their own without someone else formulating it for them and then them jumping on board their coattails. Yeah, me too. I think that too. Yeah. So let me just read the comment first off. So I made that comment the other day in the Diddy video, just simply saying, and I made the disclaimer, I'm not saying Diddy was a good guy. In fact, I think quite the opposite. I think he was a very selfish, hedonistic, control freak, assaultive individual who pretty much used and abused for his own self gain and self pleasure his whole career. Everyone he knew, everyone he came in contact with. And I think it's pretty obvious about him. But, but, the more allegations come out as more time passes, I feel like each and every allegation gets a little bit more suspect, gets a little bit more blatant, and it gets a little bit more, okay, no, this sounds a little bit like somebody's just making this shit up. You know what I mean? Oh, well, okay, so, yeah, back when I was a kid, right? I was riding home on the bus, and my bus driver let me off at the wrong bus stop, and all of a sudden this man comes parachuting out of the sky, and he comes and he scoops me up out of my driveway, and I look and it's P. Diddy. And it's not only P. Diddy, but he's nude. And then he has sex with me as we're flying through the air to a random destination where he had people and security guards and drugs waiting so they could all collectively watch me get graped. I mean, shit's just getting silly at this point. But don't let me make an objective statement about, you know what? Don't put it past people. There are piranhas out there. I'm sure a lot of this shit is going to turn out to be substantiated. It does, in fact, sound like Diddy was an asshole of a guy, a hedonistic, control freak bastard who just saw everyone else as an as an object for his own selfish entertainment. Okay? I mean, there's no doubt about that at this point. But that doesn't mean that you can't look back, step back, and look objectively at the situation and say, but we also know that there are people out there that will sell their souls to the fucking devil to get some notoriety that could turn into this for them. There are tons of people out there that would absolutely be more than happy to convince the whole world that they got graped by Diddy if it could add a few zeros to their bank account. You get my drift? And now I'm somehow like some Diddy sympathizer or something. Now I'm some sort of Diddy supporter, right? That just sounds funny to say because I don't think he has any supporters like on this planet, literally. But just listen to the person's comment. So let's do a whole clip on maybe one or two people who lied, which discounts all of the hundreds of real victims. None have been substantiated, by the way, other than Cassie, where we saw the video where he was beating her ass. And wait, the hundreds of victims, it's complete anonymity right now. There's not even been any names said. I mean, there's writing on the wall. There's people saying, "Oh, Leo DiCaprio," or Ashton Kutcher, "Oh, Justin Bieber," or Usher, but none of those people has specifically come forward, put their name out there, and but we don't know yet. That's what I'm trying to say. We don't know any names yet. Okay? Everything at this point is just speculation and conjecture. Does that mean I'm some sort of P. Diddy sympathizer? Fuck no. I'm just calling it what it is. It's speculation and conjecture until it's been proven without a shadow of a doubt, or at least to the point that the prosecution can prove it in a court of law. So let's do let's do a whole clip on maybe one or two people who lied, which discounts all of the hundreds of real victims instead of doing more videos advocating for the victims and reinforcing the horrific things that they, and then it stops right there. I don't know, maybe his phone died or something. Uh, what victims, bro? You want me to do, you want me to do a video advocating for victims that I don't even know the names of? And that we've only heard one side of the story, and then the side of the story that we are hearing is secondhand. We've all played that game Gossip in kindergarten where you get 10 people lined up. The first teacher tells the first person something, they tell the second, then the third person goes on down the line. By the time it gets to the 10th person is nothing even remotely close to what the teacher actually said. I mean, and we're getting this with these people who are accusing Diddy. They're telling this radio station, or they're telling uh, this news outlet, and then they're getting their writers to write these stories up in a salacious sort of way to make sure to grab headlines and grab people's attention, and then they're writing it up in a way, but then there's no names. Who are we doing videos on, bro? What victims do you want me to do the videos on? We don't know the names of any victims. Have an original thought, bro. Have an original, objective thought for once. That's all I can say. Think about what you're saying. Oh, but that's not it. Same guy. Nobody gives a F about nobody. First off, that's double negatives, and it actually means nobody gives a F about somebody. You need to work on your English or grammar. I mean, it's hard to take anybody seriously when they don't even know one of the first rules of grammar. Don't use double negatives, bro. Don't do it. Just makes you sound uneducated. You're better off just keeping your mouth shut. About his dirty money. People want justice for what sick, depraved things he did to men, women, and children. Okay, so that's his comments. Now I can start driving. All right. So I guess somehow, since I made an objective or stated an objective truth that some of these people that are coming out with these allegations could just be piranha, trying to get a nibble, trying to get a little piece, trying to get their name attached or their name to be synonymous with someone as huge as P. Diddy so that they can then be set up to have interviews. They can get that book deal that they've always been wanting to get. You know what I'm saying? I mean, there's people that do this, bro. There's people that do this. Do you know how much money Elvis Presley's ex-wife made off of the book that she wrote called Elvis and Me? And it was all about what a fucked up person he did, or a fucked up person he was. And let me tell you something. Elvis Presley was an effing saint compared to P. Diddy. I mean, this guy used to walk down the street just handing people $20 bills, and this is back in the '60s. When a $20 bill was like 200 today. You know, and he was a drug addict and was somewhat abusive to his own wife, from what we understand. But I mean, it's not even on the same level as what Diddy is. But do you know how much money she made off that book deal? So I'm just simply pointing out that, not that Diddy's a good guy, or not that we should focus on these one or two people that could possibly be lying about what something that happened between them and Diddy. I'm just making an objective statement and an objective observation that is factual. We don't know any names yet. We don't know if any of these people are telling the truth yet. And as time passes, I can't help but wonder with some of these people, you know, I mean, I know you can have an excuse for, you can say, well, where were you 6 months ago? Well, nobody had came forward 6 months ago, because 6 months ago, you know, maybe people were scared. Diddy was still out and about. He was still roaming a free man. Maybe they were scared of him. Maybe they were scared of some sort of retribution if they came forward with whatever allegation it was. So you can kind of give people a pass on that. But he's been locked up for almost 2 months now, and people have been steadily coming forward almost every day. New allegations, new allegations, new allegations. Where were you a month and a half ago when he first got locked up? Where were you 5 weeks ago? Where were you 4 weeks ago? Where were you 3 weeks ago? If you had some sort of horrible assault and were the victim of some horrible assault at the hands of P. Diddy, I imagine that experience will be forever etched in your brain and would be very hard for you to forget. What are you telling me? You were trying to remember the details before you came forward? Trying to decide whether you wanted to come forward? Or do you think it could be that we're possibly getting to the point now where there's certain people that are sitting around that are seeing this as an opportunity? Well, I mean, I didn't really have much to do with him. He didn't really do anything to me, but I was around him for a few minutes, back in 2007. And, I mean, with all the shit he's got hanging over his head, it probably wouldn't be a far stretch for, if I said that, some of his people gave me some drugs and then I felt woozy, and then the next thing I know, he was assaulting me. Probably wouldn't be a far cry. People would probably believe it. I wonder what kind of interviews I would get from that. I could write a book about it. I could become a millionaire. I mean, this is not me saying that Diddy is a good guy and that he didn't do any of the things he's being accused of. I'm just making an observation. There have been people out there to sell their souls to the devil and tell all kinds of bullshit and all kinds of lies for way less than what they could stand to gain from these lies about Diddy. I imagine a lot of it, a very large amount of the accusations are rooted in truth, at least in part. I believe that. I imagine that is the case. He just seems like a horrible, hedonistic, egotistical person who didn't care about anyone but himself, and was willing to step on as many skulls as he needed to and break as many spirits as he needed to just feed his own his own perverse desires. I mean, I believe that's the kind of guy that we're dealing with. But two things can be true at once, okay? That can also be true about Diddy. Those things that I just said can be true about the man we call Diddy. But at the same time, it can also be true that there are people out there that will make up any old kind of shit and will capitalize on an opportunity and will be a human piranha hoping that it can make a positive turn in their career, in their bank account, in their finances. Both of those things can be true at one time. And to ignore that, it's just ignorance. It's just ignorance. And when the people's names come out, and when we have some actual substantiated claims that turn out to be true, from which he is convicted of in a court of law, I promise you I will give those victims their due in form of doing videos to recognize those victims for what they went through. Because I feel bad for the people who were you know, been left in the wake of this man, right? I mean, it sounds like there's so many people that, you know, crossed paths with him, especially people who were hoping to, do something positive with their career, had aspirations of being a musician. But bro, I feel for those people. I could relate to something like that. I was a musician when I was younger, and I've shared that. I've showcased for Sony Records back in the day. I was in a singing group. I wanted that fame and fortune for myself. I wanted that, So I can completely understand how that must feel to people who maybe just want, want to make it big and want to do something huge in the industry themselves. And then they meet somebody like P. Diddy and they think to themselves, wow, this guy, owns this major record label. He's this huge, massive music mogul. And here he is promising me the world, telling me he can help me and this and that and the other. And then he turns around and just takes complete advantage for his own self perverse gratification. I mean, that's got to be a horrible freaking feeling, man. And I feel for the people that he victimized in that way. But we don't know them yet. We don't know who they are yet. We don't know their stories yet until they tell them, until the court proceedings happen. Trust me, bro. It's early. It's early. There's going to be so much to come out down the road. So much to come out down the road that we haven't even heard of. So if you think I'm some sort of Diddy nut hugger or sympathizer or somehow taking up for Diddy by simply making the observation that some of these people could be piranhas, just opportunists, just trying to jump on the bandwagon and get a nibble, so while everybody else is getting a nibble, because it's easier to get a nibble while everybody else is in there, too. You know what I'm saying? Think about a pride of lions attacking a buffalo. They typically don't do that on their own because that can be fatal for them. A buffalo is a big motherfucker. Diddy is a big motherfucker. In terms of the industry, in terms of his power, in terms of his notoriety, The pride of lions comes together in a pack. And when they work together, one can bite over here, get the victim distracted over this way, and then the other one can come in and attack from a different angle. That's what's happening right now. That's what's happening. People are feeling empowered. Diddy's incarcerated. He can't come after them now. He's weak. He's in a compromised position. Now's the time. But guess what? Some of the people probably didn't really get victimized by him, but they're still wanting to eat. You know what I'm saying? They're still wanting to eat. They're still wanting to get some food. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of like the what's that animal? The hyena. Most of the time the hyena comes along after the fact. They ain't got no skin in the game. They didn't help kill the buffalo. They didn't help kill the antelope. But they want to come in and run all the lions off and gang up on the lions and push them out of the way because they want to eat. They don't have any skin in the game. They didn't get, they didn't get assaulted by Diddy, but they're still trying to get some of the food. They're still trying to eat. There's people like that, bro. And if you think there's not people like that, you're just ignorant. Love you guys. I gotta go. Hope you enjoyed me ranting about this random person that made a comment on my video who will probably never come back to my channel again, especially after hearing this. That's okay. That's okay. Conflict sells. Other people will hear it and be like, damn, this dude speaks his fucking mind. Fuck yeah. Subscribe. Or maybe you won't. You might be like, oh, this dude's a fucking asshole. I ain't never subscribing to this guy's channel. I'm not, guys. I promise. I'm not. I'm not. I just have a very keen sense for idiocy, and I don't like when people leave it in my comment section. But it is the internet, you know, and there's a lot of people. When I guess when I put it out there, you know, there a lot of people potentially have access to it. So there's going to be some idiots jump on and say they're two-piece. It's okay. It's okay. But not picking on you, my dude. You know, you thought what you thought. Maybe I spent too much time. Maybe I spent too much time talking about the people possibly being a piranha. You know, maybe it sounded like that was kind of the point of my video, when really I just meant that to be, you know, a passing objective fact that there are people out there that will use this as an opportunity. You know. All right, I love you guys. Subscribe to the channel if you have not liked the video. Comment down below. Let me know what you think about this Diddy thing. Are all of these people coming forward? I mean, are we just to assume that they're all telling the truth? Or should we all have some measure of discernment here and be like, okay, now where were you 2 months ago when the guy first got arrested? I mean, you know, as time passes, it seems to get, the accusations seem to get a little crazier and crazier and a little less believable, in my opinion. He's still a shitty guy. He's still a shitty guy, and I feel like he's going down for life, and there's no way that's not going to happen, and I feel like he deserves it. He deserves it. You know, he's lived a life of only giving a fuck about himself and has left a freaking disaster behind him, right? So he deserves whatever comes to him. But there's still piranha out there. Just saying. All right, guys. Have a good day. See you next time. Bye.